If you like audiobooks or audio shows, check out a free trial of Audible. Just click the link in the description.
Welcome to MINDSHOCK. We have another holiday season episode for you. This is your host, Bruce McGuire.
Massive powers.
And we're going to be going over one of the greatest potential threats to mankind in the history of existence, particularly today. As always, if you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. If you like the podcast, hit the like button, and feel free to share it across social media platforms. You can check us out, Twitter, Reddit, and Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case or topic requests. And make sure to like and follow our Facebook page for exclusive updates not available anywhere else. All right, Maxwell, try this one on for size this holiday season. Is authority worship or faith in authority or experts the greatest threat to mankind? Now, we're not talking specifics. We're talking about the principle of worshiping authorities or taking on blind faith as gospel truth, information coming from authorities or institutions, regardless of the category.
That's interesting. That's probably like the main thesis of this literature called neo-tech back in the day. Was just like the rejection of higher authority as the path to power.
When you say rejection of higher authority, what does that mean? Like religious, government, educational?
Everything outside your conscious mind.
So it's basically like personal empiricism only. So like only what you, like your sphere of experience is the only authority.
Yes, and your ability to accumulate or research knowledge.
But wouldn't that presuppose that your ability to do so or your mental capacity, mental capability would be at a certain level? Because if the wrong person is using that philosophy, wouldn't that be bad for them? Because if they're not mentally capable, if they don't possess the intellect or the logic required to understand certain things, couldn't you just create like a serial killer who's justified in his actions by using that kind of philosophy? Because he'd be rejecting religious authority, saying murder, thou shalt not kill. He's rejecting government authority of the law, that you shouldn't, you can't murder people. He's rejecting philosophical authority he hasn't personally verified. So he's using only his own sphere. So if he's like watching animals kill other animals, and he's extrapolating from that, oh, well, as a human, I could do that to other humans. Is that necessarily the wisest philosophy someone could have?
Well, I don't know. It presupposes that you're not willing to have the moral integrity. So I don't know.
If we take a nature's view of it, like for example, let's say that person, for whatever reason, they only read that book. They don't really even know that there's a lot of like. What if they found that book? Somehow they know how to read. They found that book lying somewhere. They read it. They decided to apply it, but they don't know about the internet. They don't know about libraries. They don't know about other information. So it's not that they're evil. They just go to the woods, see animals killing other animals, and then they see other humans and they just replicate what they saw. And they use that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here because that's the topic today. If you're just rejecting all authority not based on truth or logic or reason, just based on rejecting authority for the sake of rejecting authority, can that be dangerous?
Well, it's just rejecting authority that meaning just letting or allowing people, other outside sources, to think for you. For example, like someone who's a mathematician and you're learning math, you have to kind of follow that kind of authority because he's got authentic authority as opposed to
But how would you be able to discern that? Like if you're
well, you're just gonna have to, I don't know, you kind of have to do some research.
Yeah, but if your mental level, again, factoring in Dunning-Kruger, cognitive dissonance, all these things, if you're not mentally capable of discerning accurately, then you wouldn't be able to judge whether that authority was legitimate or not, right? Because what if he's preaching the wrong math, but, for example, everyone at that particular school or institution the appeal to popularity fallacy, appeal to authority fallacy. Everybody happens to share his wrong information. That's going to give you the impression, because if you're not capable of verifying for yourself, or you're not at a certain mental level, I think a lot of these ideas, you have to be at a certain mental capability, right? Because if you're not, how do you do it? It's like, no matter what philosophy you go by or what you go by, if you're not at a certain mental level, you might think you're doing something, for example, judging accurately, when you're not actually judging accurately.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you know, um, uh, but Columbia University is very like a left statist type university. Like everyone in there is kind of they take on that statist philosophy, but
What's the relevance of Columbia University to our conversation?
um, well, a lot of people follow what they teach kind of almost blindly, like they're not
But don't they
thinking
do
for
that? Don't they
themselves.
do that with Harvard, MIT, Oxford, like all these major? Don't all of the prestigious universities have that in those indoctrinated followers? I mean, it's not just Columbia, right?
I don't know. I was just going by what man, this libertarian teacher does, because he went to Columbia University and he talked about that, and he was the only one that was kind of like he was like
All right,
the outsider.
let's circle back to the original point that I was trying to make across all industries, where it's kind of like you brought up rejecting authority just for the sake of rejecting authority, because you're basically talking. I haven't read Neotech, so I'm not familiar with the exact. I'm just going off what you're saying. If the notion is you reject all authority for the sake of rejecting authority, which again, I'm not saying that's wrong or right to do. I was just thinking about the implications of it,
Well,
because
well,
everybody's.
I didn't say that was the notion, but
So it's not the notion.
oh no, it's not like I don't know. It's just I don't know. There's a difference between authentic.
Okay, but how would you
Well,
judge authentic or not authentic? So the point would still stand, where you would have to have the mental ability, the logic, the reason.
yeah, I get that. I get that. Some
Yeah,
like
and then
there are some people
because
who
of Dunning-Kruger and other psychological factors, the majority of people would not understand that they don't have that mental ability, but they think they do. And that's why so many people have wrongly and uninformed held opinions, because they don't realize that their mental capacity is not what they think it is, and they just assume they understood and they're right about a lot. We see that everywhere. We see that with every topic. But with the main point of the podcast, I was just saying that this authority worship, like for example, we could take history. Like if you're taking a history class at a university, you're just taking on blind faith that that teacher is using the correct information. You're throwing out the window that the victors write the history books. You're just learning dogma basically, and you have to regurgitate it on command. You can make a parallel that adults living in this outside world, it's just an extension of when they were children and indoctrinated in indoctrination facilities known as schools. They were just taught, you have to believe the teacher, the administrator, the principal, and you have to do what you were told. When you become an adult, you move to the outside world. Isn't it just a bigger picture of that? Because you're supposed to listen to these experts, whether they're doctors, scientists, politicians, police officers, whoever. You have these perceived authority figures by adults, and they're almost worshipped by adults and taken everything they say and do as gospel truth, where the consensus of institutions, which again it's been proven demonstrably false over history in another couple hundred years. I mean, how much in every category that we currently know, our modern society knows, how much of it is really going to stand the test of time? Or will the majority of it be discarded as either completely false, inaccurate, or just other more useful and efficient information is going to overshadow everything we see now as these great ultimate truths that will no longer be great ultimate truths? You following?
yeah,
So
I got you.
is that a great danger, where humans are just kind of being herded like sheep or lemmings, and corporations and institutions are just making they're literally making a killing, both literally and metaphorically, both actually killing people as governments have done, Democide is the leading cause of death in the history of the world. Governments killing their own citizens. And how could that be possible without authority worship? Without this indoctrination into following whatever these perceived authorities lead the human cattle, the way they lead the human cattle. And so if we move on to like medical or scientific, the fields of physics, all these other fields, why would authority be worship be less dangerous in those fields? Wouldn't it be even more dangerous? The same way you could argue for, again, science has kind of become very religious and politicized. We have scientism now instead of real science. Is that even more dangerous than religion? Because, you can look to all these historical references where a lot of murder and atrocity has been done in the name of religion. Obviously, it's not so simple. It was usually governments exploiting the people's religious ideologies, and it wasn't, some random preacher rallying people to go kill people, although I'm sure that's happened as well. So, is this just a really great danger to mankind? Potentially the greatest, because what happens when you move on to, again, empiricism, basically, where you don't just put blind faith into fallible humans, which may or may not be corrupt or evil. Some of them might be very good humans, but they're just mistaken. So putting your blind faith in that, is that a great danger to mankind?
Yeah, it's definitely a danger.
Not to pamper or a Grinch effect on the holiday season, but perhaps it's something to think about and consider. I mean, if you take even Christmas, I mean, obviously different people celebrate it different ways, but it's a pretty good way to line the pockets of corporations and materialistic institutions, is it not? No thoughts on that, Maxwell?
Yeah, I got you. It's, yeah, I got you.
I mean, you've heard of that whole economic extrapolation where they suggested making a Christmas 2 somewhere around July, and the profits of all these companies would increase significantly if you had a Christmas 2 in the middle of the summer because people would just buy that many more gifts for people. It's almost exploiting the good nature of humans for monetary gain. I mean, it's kind of messed up if you think about it.
Wait, who talked about that? Has that been popular topic?
I mean, I don't know how popular. I've heard it in many different places. Just people. I think the first place I heard it was probably a kid when I was watching this holiday movie, Reindeer Games, with Ben Affleck. I think one of the bad guys said something about taking night classes in economics about Christmas 2 in the summer, and then I ended up looking that up. Not when I first saw it, but when at some point I ended up looking it up. And yeah, it's been suggested in many places. I don't know how popular. I don't know if they talk about it on CNN or whatever, but it's been talked about.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I think that would be. I mean, it's hard to even just to go once a year to feel that sense of giving and Christmas spirit and all that, and to do it twice that would diffuse it even more.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't mean that in a literal sense. I meant it as a way to bring the point to the exploitation of the goodwill of mankind to make money for companies. Like even if there's only one, that wasn't the point of what I said. Even if there's only one Christmas, is it not companies taking advantage of human? I mean, Christmas time is that's like the biggest profit area for most companies. Most companies that sell goods, materialism. You don't think so?
You know, I don't think what
What I just said.
that Christmas is the biggest uh profit month of the year for
Yeah.
companies.
Yes, as a result of their exploitation of the goodwill of mankind.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Most people spend a lot of money, even money they don't have. They put stuff on credit, all to buy gifts because they're good people. But it's kind of like the holiday. It's something that I couldn't really shake, even when I was a kid. It was something I always kind of thought about. It's kind of messed up. Now, obviously, some families. I mean, this is a minority, but some families don't do gift purchases. They do only like self-made gifts or handmade gifts or arts and crafts, things that come. So they're not necessarily putting money in the pockets of evil corporations. No thoughts, Maxwell?
Um, I don't know. I think it was Ayn Rand that that mentioned that like Christmas is like the celebration of like capitalism, or something like that, and it's like it's like a I don't know, it's a good thing.
What would you think of Black Friday?
It's like celebra- the celebration of capitalism to the extreme or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You're tying it in with capitalism. I was kind of just pointing at the fact that just in general human nature, does Christmas make people who don't buy all these great gifts for people, does that make them feel like they're bad people because they don't get gifts for all these people? And we're not going to go into the nature of the holiday itself and its occult and conspiratorial nature. If you want to check that out, we have last year's podcast on the Christmas conspiracy. Very in-depth breakdown, probably the best podcast on the Christmas conspiracy ever made. So check that out on the channel if you haven't checked that out already. Just in time for Christmas. But but yeah, no, just in general, do you think that with all this Christmas advertising and all of this kind of propaganda around Christmas, the season of gift giving, that people that don't get all these great gifts for other people, they don't spend the money, they don't spend the time, do you think that makes them feel like bad people? And then it's all these materialistic companies that are, raking in the profit, that are profiting off of this propaganda.
Yeah, I can see that people feeling bad, like, because they see it, everywhere. I mean, I see cars on the highway right now, and the stores are. I mean, it's the 24th, and the stores, Starbucks are packed.
Yeah, so if you don't have that blind faith and authority to tell you what to do, tell you which holidays to follow, tell you what to think, what to feel, yeah, I mean, it's almost like you're a slave in a prison if all you do is trust authority and you do not develop your own logic or ability to discern. And that's part of the reason this podcast exists, to discuss the mind shocking topics that other people don't talk about, and to do so with logic and reason at the forefront without taking specific sides. Any closing thoughts, Maxwell?
Well, I just thought, I didn't think about it just at this time, but I thought about, like, I have to say, the state has, man, I would say, I mean, they have a pretty good way of like organizing social engineering, society. I mean, it's like they can. I mean, the president can go tomorrow on and announce a new holiday, like they did that with Father's Day and Mother's Day. At least I think that's what happened, right? they just
I
they
actually,
just
I'm,
take a
I'm not familiar with the exact origin, but that's a good point. And there's a lot of companies that make a big profit off of that. Yeah.
yeah, but but this. Uh, and I thought about a stateless society, like how would they figure out like those kind of holidays, like how I, I don't know what kind of holidays like that were not. I mean, Christmas wasn't state induced, was it? Like it wasn't like, oh yeah, it's like a historical. I don't know. It's been a while, so like New Year's is not like the state, you know.
Well, it
Uh,
sort of is.
yeah, I guess, but I don't know. It's like a cultural thing, like fireworks and stuff. It's not like the state, told everyone to, make fireworks or something. It's just kind of like what people did, and it just kept on going, and it just created momentum, and it's still alive today. I don't know. Just saying, like, hmm. I'm thinking maybe like a really famous person, like a very like a let's say like a CEO or something. Like I don't know. I guess I could see that happening if like a Steve Jobs
Christmas,
like came, because like if
Christmas
Steve Jobs came on like, hey, we're gonna make this a holiday, and just stated like, we should celebrate this day for every year or something, and I don't know if that would work or not. Huh.
Christmas became a national holiday in 1870. On June 26th, 1870, Christmas became a federal holiday with most workers receiving paid time off. So before 1870, so in 1869, Christmas was not a national holiday.
Oh, no kidding.
I mean, all national holidays have to be approved federally, right? Because otherwise, it's not a federal holiday, right? So if it's a national federal holiday, then yes, all of them, including Christmas, had to have been declared officially.
That's interesting. How does Valentine's Day work? Or like,
Valentine's Day is not a national holiday.
oh yeah, okay. I see.
So they
Like
actually they have to pass
Memorial
because
Day or
a
Labor's
bill
Day or something.
a bill has to be passed. So like Christmas, the bill wasn't passed until 1870. It was signed by Ulysses S. Grant.
Damn.
Because you can't mandate that government workers just take the day off without a bill. So there has to be a bill signed for that.
But see, that's what I mean. What if they did? What if they never did that? I wonder if like the
Well, then
Christmas as a holiday.
government workers would still have to work on Christmas if it was during the weekday if there was no bill declaring it a holiday.
That's what I mean. I'm just thinking about like a stateless society versus like what we have now, which is like a complete status.
Well, then wherever you would work, you'd have that personal agreement with your employer. It would have nothing to do with the government.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just thinking like how like a stateless society wouldn't be able to, have that kind of like Christmas holiday because it would.
It would just
that
be like a religion. It would just be like any religious holiday is today. That's not a federal
But
holiday.
but I wonder if it would just die out. Like I wonder if like let's say if the Ulysses Grant or whoever that was that grant like
So you
did the
think
Christmas thing.
so you think Christians would just never celebrate Christmas if it wasn't signed by a bill? I mean,
I'm
it was
thinking about it.
celebrated,
I don't know. I'm
but it
thinking
was
about it. Maybe
celebrated
it would just
before.
die out just
Yeah,
because
but why would
life
it?
gets
Why
busy.
would it? But if it would die out, wouldn't it have already died out by 1870 if it was this holiday celebrated during
Wait,
pagan time?
wait, how long before that? Like, was it celebrated as
Well,
Christmas?
weren't
Like,
you paying
it was.
attention on our Christmas holiday? I mean, it's an ancient
I don't
holiday going
remember,
back
but
thousands.
I mean,
I mean,
they did.
it goes back thousands of years.
Also, they did the Christmas tree and the gift giving and all that
Well, we
before.
went over that all on the podcast. These are all different
I
customs.
gotta listen to that again.
You should, but these are customs that were amalgamated from different religions. So the whole, the Yule log and all of those things, they were kind of added into the modern Christmas, but they were all from separate, different ancient holidays. So, like with any religion, religions that are thousands of years old or even hundreds of years old, you think it would have died out if it wasn't signed by a bill? I mean, if it would have died out, wouldn't it have died out within the hundreds of years prior? And if it
But I
didn't
guess
die out,
what I'm saying. Let's just say like Ulysses. What's his name? Ulysses Grant. Is that what you said?
Ulysses S. Grant, yes.
Ulysses S. Grant. Like, let's say he never did that, and no one else ever did. Let's say we still have Christmas. Would it have the commercialization that it
Oh,
has
okay.
today?
Well, that's a separate issue.
Oh
Commercial.
yeah,
So, because all the Christians would still be celebrating it, and if there's more and more Christians, that's more and more people celebrating Christmas. But I mean, maybe it would because you'd still have all these advertising companies. Like just because it wasn't it's just like Valentine's Day. You don't get off of work on Valentine's Day, but you have all these corporations pumping money into propaganda to sell candy and flowers, whatever.
that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison
So
actually, because
Valentine's Day didn't die out just because it's not a federally mandated.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good example.
Yeah.
I was thinking of other examples. I'm like Valentine's Day was actually perfect because
Yeah.
you don't
So
take
I
off
mean,
work on.
a lot of corporations and materialistic corporations, they're opportunistic as well. So they would be pumping propaganda and advertising even if it wasn't a federally mandated national holiday. So it might still end up being similar. Who knows? Or maybe it wouldn't. We don't really know. I mean, this is all hypothetical. But the important thing during the holiday season, obviously, celebrate goodwill among mankind and not to be distracted by all of these negative thoughts, even though some of them represent reality. But we hope you enjoyed another edition of the MindShock podcast this Christmas 2019. And we wish everyone out there a happy and healthy holiday. If you like the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Any questions, comments, theories, rebuttals, leave them in the comment section. If you like the podcast, hit the like button. Feel free to share it across social media platforms. And check out our Twitter, Reddit, Patreon, and our Facebook page for exclusive updates. This is Bruce McGuire signing off.
And Maxwell Powers.
Catch you guys next time.